Humility. You don't truly know the feeling until you've run with the Kenyans. After 4 days of luxuriating in the heavenly confines of Tsavo National Park and the Finch Hattons campground, I head north to Iten, a rural Kenyan village that's built a reputation as the home of champions thanks to its incredible roster of locally produced runners like Eliud Kipchoge, Keitany, and Wilson Kipsang. For the next week, I'll run, I'll eat, I'll work out some more, and I'll eat some more to fuel the next day's run. When I'm not running, I'll go to Iten town, hike to the nearby waterfall, shake fire ants out of my pants, yowza, and chat with Kenyans in an attempt to learn more about the secret sauce that makes runners from around here so successful. But hard as it may be to believe for some runners, there's more to life than splits, paces, and PRs. So I'll also head out to the countryside to learn more about how running is building homes for those in need. Welcome to the Kenya Experience. We arrive at Eldoret in the morning, meeting our host for the trip, Willie Songok. Officially, he's the head of guest relations with the Kenya Experience, but I think of him more as a Swiss Army knife, keeping the schedule up to date and making sure everything that needs to get done gets done. It's a roughly 90-minute drive into Iten from the airport, so we arrive just in time for lunch. I'm skipping ahead a bit, but I just want to take a moment to celebrate this team of cooks, putting out just heaps of delicious food each and every day for hungry runners who need to eat anything and everything put in front of them. For breakfast, porridge and mandazi, a kind of lightly fried Swahili bread made with coconut milk. For lunch and dinner, we've got plates of carb and grain-heavy meals with a variety of vegetable soups. I don't know if I've ever eaten so well or completely. We're eager to hit the pavement after our first lunch, but we're at high altitude here. Hence the name, High Altitude Training Center. Iten sits at roughly 2,400 meters or 7,900 feet. It's hardly scientific, but my watch tells me I'm not even halfway acclimated, and that's after a week in Nairobi and Tsavo National Park. This is all to say we have to take it easy for starters, or as they say around here, Polepole, slowly, slowly. Eliud Kipchoge is a 2:12 marathoner and head pacer for the Kenya Experience. He takes us out on an easy 30-minute run to kick things off. And when I say easy, I mean easy. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I never ran slower than I did with the Kenyans. Besides adjusting to the altitude, they're also big believers in heart rate training around here, where you adjust your pace based on your heart rate. It enhances the density of mitochondria and type 1 muscle fibers, boosting your body's efficiency and fat for fuel during extended exercise sessions. Now, if I lost you at mitochondria, then just know it makes your body stronger and more efficient for endurance sports. You know, like running a marathon. Kenya Experience coach Richard Mukche is all about it. He's a former coach of the Turkish national team and also trained Eliud Kipchoge, a winner of several gold medals who set world records in multiple distances. So he knows what he's talking about. Coach pushes a scientific approach to running that includes strength work at the gym, running drills, and cross training.
When you come here, you learn a new way of training. Now we are in modern technology way of training or scientific training. It's not only about running.
We started off really easy because you're adjusting to the altitude.
Yeah. When you just arrive to altitude, that means you have to take at least 3 days to acclimatize.
And as you kept saying, if it's more than 30 minutes, it's not easy.
More than 30 minutes, I think I'll still repeat it, that is not easy.
Coach says keep it easy, so that's what we do with a 6:30 a.m. run for a whopping 33 minutes, and an afternoon run for another 30 minutes at what was easily my slowest pace in recent memory. But when you're running Polepole, you can chat to kill time. That's how we started to get to know our pacer, Emmanuel, a little bit better. Emmanuel has been a professional runner for 12 years. Willie brought him on board with the Kenya Experience in 2018, where he's worked ever since as the head of the pacing team. But Iten isn't the beginning of his story. So you're not originally from Iten, right?
Yeah, I'm not from Iten. Yeah, my home is just 6 kilometers to the south. Mm-hmm. So I just came to Iten 2014. Iten is a good place for running. You'll find a lot of athletes. The environment is good, it's cool, and appropriate for running.
Do you remember like at what age you decided like I want to be a runner, like that's going to be my career?
I used to run since I was 12 years old, but I didn't know that maybe one day I'll run. There is this world record holder, former world record holder, Dennis Kimeto. He broke the world record. So I met him in Eldoret town. Then he told me, Emmanuel, what are you doing here? And then I told him, I used to be selling milk. Then he told me, Emmanuel, you should not be here. So he gave me training facilities and transport and told me that I want to see you on Monday in Iten. And that's how,
That's how you got here?
that's how I get here to Iten, yeah.
Running with Emmanuel, we quickly learned that one of the ingredients that makes Kenyan runners so competitive is simple: doing the time. So you're doing in the morning 20 kilometers roughly, and then in the afternoon you're running another 10. But in addition to that, you're also pacing for the Kenya experience. How did you get involved with pacing for all these international visitors?
I do my own training in the morning, like I do more than Kenya experience. Because just like your pace is not like at my pace. We ran 10 kilometers.
We'll cut that part out.
Yeah.
In case it wasn't obvious already.
Okay. So after maybe doing with Kenya experience, I do my own afterwards, and that's it. Then you see, we run with Kenya experience just once in the morning. My goal is I want to run 2:6 in before I retire, and after that, then I can be a coach. Yeah, because running is my everything. I've come to Iten, and Iten is my home. So there is no way I'll just go back to where I was born.
So this is, you see yourself here long term in E10?
Yeah, long term, yeah.
Happy with our progress so far, Coach Mukche gives us permission to head out to the track for some speed work. We start with an easy 2.5 kilometer warm up over the dirt red roads of Iten. As always, Polepole. And then, there she is, Kamarini Track. Viewer, I had zero expectations about this place. I figured it'd be like any other track. Nothing special, and in theory, it's just a track. But something about it hit me in the kishkas. The simple dirt lanes, the faint white lines that remind me of the Little League fields I played on as a kid, the packs of world-class athletes putting in the work. It's incredible and easily one of the most moving first-hand sports experiences I've ever had. That said, it was also incredibly humbling. Don't get me wrong, I didn't come here thinking I could actually hang with the Kenyans. But even if I was delusional enough to think I could hang with them for a lap or two, reality was quick to kick some of that red dirt in my face. We start with a Polepole warm-up around the track and some strides. Then, it was time to jump in the first lane and push it for 6 hard reps around the track. Etiquette dictates that you stay in your lane, literally, while faster runners pass. Allow me to demonstrate what that looks like. All the while, you teeter along the edge of the ditch as runners brush by in mid-sprint. Okay, I love this place, but that seems like a serious design flaw. Believe me when I say that my heart was leaping out of my chest by the time I finished my 6th lap. My soul wanted more, but my body was ready to rest. After all, I still had plenty of running ahead of me. It's another early morning. This is when I start to realize that I really don't know how to vacation properly. For better or worse, this is how I roll on my time off. Usually, Coach would spend more time taking it easy with us while acclimatizing to the altitude, especially after the hard workout at the track. But like kids begging their parents for permission, we convinced him to let us go on a 75-minute run around the Singore forest. Boy, am I glad he did. The trails out here are my favorite variety, forested and flowing, like a gentle roller coaster through the woods. This, dear viewer, is my happy place. Another day, another run. But today isn't just any run, for today is Fartlek Day. Alright, I'll pause here to allow the non-runners to laugh at the name. No shame, I know what it means, and it still takes me a few takes recording this not to giggle. We have the Swedes to thank for fartleks, which basically means speed play. It's a training method that blends continuous running with interval training. It's unstructured, with the runner changing up the pace at will, and they're popular out here in Iten, with different groups meeting up on Thursdays to run their fartlek together. We join the Boston Fartlek, and by join, I mean ever so briefly hang on to the back of the pack until the group kicks it into gear for the interval and disappears like a distant tornado. Well, it was nice while it lasted. So my fartlek turns into a solo run around the countryside, and honestly, I don't mind. I don't mean to brag, but I know I'm not an elite athlete, and that's freeing in a way. I can still push myself, but I can also enjoy the moment for the simple beauty of it. I'm here, running in Kenya. What in God's name did I do to deserve this?
Well, folks, it is a very lonely existence being a flatlander out here in high altitude Kenya, running with the Kenyans. Alright, well, I finished my 10K, and I've been instructed to walk back to Melanie and walk or run back in with her to finish the fartlek. Review. Wildly humbling. And I knew it would be. I did not come here thinking I would adjust to the altitude instantly and in a million years keep up with the Kenyans.
Back in Iten, Emmanuel invites us over for a special experience. His wife Maximila is making ugali. Ugali, in short, is primo Kenyan running fuel. It's a white corn maize flour mixed with boiling water, stirred into a smooth, dough-like consistency, and eaten either on its own or used to scoop up sauces and stews. More importantly for runners, it's chock full of carbs. Emmanuel eats it at least once a day, if not twice.
Ugali is very important for me as a runner, especially during long runs. It's a complex carbohydrate. So without that, I cannot do maybe 30 kilometers or 40 kilometers. I'll die on the way, yeah.
The Kenyan diet, with its ugali and Swahili whole foods, is just one of the theories behind why Kenyans are such phenomenal runners. But Willie has some other theories. If you remember from our trip to Tsavo National Park, there are 43 tribes in Kenya. The Maasai are arguably the most famous and recognizable outside of Kenya. But a close second, or perhaps stealing the top of the podium for anyone in the running world, is the Kalenjin, a group of tribes indigenous to East Africa. Kenyan world record holders like Eliud Kipchoge and Brigid Kosgei are both Kalenjin runners. So is Emmanuel and countless others training here in Iten. Everyone from scientists to armchair observers have wondered what makes the Kalenjin such great runners. It can't just be the altitude. Theories range from their high-starch diet to the socio-economic motivation running gives young athletes. Willie is Kalenjin himself and shares his theories on what factors contribute to his tribe producing such phenomenal runners.
One of them is the culture, because for so long they have been pastoralists, so maybe have their literate for a very long time. And more so, I think, the way they are built. If you can see most of them, they are very skinny. Yeah, so I think they were built to run.
It's not the practice anymore, but like when you were growing up, you had to run to school because if you were late, you might get caned.
Also that one can be a contributing factor, but that one was done all over, every school in Kenya, every kid in school, going to school in Kenya.
And you said something about how in the morning, you and your buddy, you'd see like the sun is at a certain level, and if it was too high, you knew like, I gotta run to get to school.
Yes, that was our timing. We didn't have watch this time. So there was, I was staying on a hilly area. So we were saying that
If the sun was at that point, you are not that late. Then there was a point that if it was, this race was there, then you know you are late. Then you have to run.
So you mentioned before how, if you're a young Kenyan, that you either go to university or you do school 4 years, university, and all this schooling and all this time, and then only maybe to get a job because there's a lot of unemployment, and so you're not even guaranteed to get a job. But with running, that seems like for a lot of young people an opportunity to, apply themselves to this and then, win a race or do well at a race and then make a living that way.
That's true, because going to school is like you have like 7 years to go to primary school. Then you have 4 years to go to high school, then 4 years to go to university. And when you get back, after all spending those years and money, when you get back, it is difficult again to get a job.
Right.
So even though that narrative is changing, then most of the people, they hope that, they can invest, maybe they can train for 4 years or 10 years sometime. And for sure, when you run good, you are going to get the money. That's what they get. They see running as a shortcut.
Right. So it's kind of like a little misleading because you see like that's a great opportunity, but at the same time, so few within the group of people who are running are actually going to get the shoe contract or get invited to these races. And so it is still highly competitive.
Well, especially in Kenya now. Like, let's take an example of Iten. You can get more than 15, let's say 1,500 athletes training in Iten from all over Kenya. But those who are successful to go outside from that 1,500, maybe 100. Yeah. So it is now getting difficult.
Not only is standing out as a runner in Kenya difficult, life itself can be far more challenging for some out here than anything you or I could ever imagine. It's a reality we face head on the next day. It's our second to last day at the camp. A rest day. Well, sort of. We start the morning with a 5.5 kilometer hike from the training center to Kesep Falls. And then, there it is. But apparently we can shimmy down the hillside for an even better look. Willie throws a rope down the hill, securing it to a log, and down we go. A few minutes and some pesky fire ants later, we arrive at the foot. And they weren't kidding. What a view. Then it's back up the side of the hill, avoiding the fire ants this time, and we continue out of the forest to a nearby road where we're picked up by David Sagita, the operations manager with the Ketimba Edwards Foundation, a local charity that supports less fortunate children in Kenya to get an education and to ensure that they have a decent roof over their heads. David takes us to a site where they've already built a few homes and are continuing to build for a family in need. The goal is to get this family of 9 out of this corrugated metal building and into a home like this.
Currently we have 670 kids that we support all through primary level to universities. Many kids in Kenya here are poor, they can't afford paying school fees.
Sure.
Some of them, like these ones, they don't have a place to live. But the Ketimba Edwards Foundation, the small thing we get from our sponsors, to enable us to take them to school, give them some meals and give them some like a psychosocial support and give them a place to live.
Well, that's a good point to talk about. You said that when we got here that this home is a temporary home for 7 people, a mother...
There are nine 7 kids and their 2 parents.
Are sleeping in this building.
Yeah,
and
they sleep in that building.
But then this one over here, we're on like, I guess, day 3 of it under construction, and it'll be ready in about 5 days, and they'll move into that.
5 days. You know, after they came to our attentions, we saw that they are struggling. They had no enough space to sleep, enough space to study, but that's why we decided to get somewhere better for them. As you can see, that's their house, that's their kitchen and everything.
And they all share the one bed together.
They share.
But once their new home is up and ready, David says each of the 7 kids will have their own bed. This drastic change in circumstances is made possible in part thanks to the Kenya Experience. David explains that a portion of the fees runners pay to the Kenya Experience goes to the Ketimba Edwards Foundation. And if runners want to, they can come and get their hands dirty. But you also said that sometimes people will come out here and volunteer and help with the construction of the homes?
Yeah, we have people who sign in and they come and build, you know. You just sign, pay some amount, you build a house. For 5 days, you build 5 houses.
That's great. But even in my short time in Iten, I got the sense that a good number of the international runners taking advantage of training in Iten aren't so interested in, being in Iten beyond the track and trails. We've been here for almost a week, and it seems like there are some people who come to Iten and just stay at the campground, at the training center, and don't really do anything in Iten, don't go outside of, they do their morning run, eat, sleep, afternoon run, eat, sleep some more, and then just continue doing that for a month, maybe 2 months, and they don't really interact with the community outside of that. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on why you think it's important that if you're going to come to Iten to, at the very least, understand what else is going on besides running in town.
Yeah, we have a lot of them who just come for running, but like giving is a heart. Not all that, like you will choose to come here. Some people will say, oh, I'm tired, but thank you for coming,
I don't know, man. I get I'm here training mostly for the fun of it, and maybe I'd feel differently if I were training for a living. But something about runners traveling here from literally all corners of the globe to take advantage of Iten's altitude, climate, coaching, and general hospitality, only to shudder themselves away from the actual soul of Iten because they're too tired, rubs me the wrong way. Fortunately, I know just how you can make it up to Iten.
For now, we are struggling to get sponsors. We have many kids who need our support, but we are not in a position. Like for me, an operation manager, I have many people coming to me seeking for help, but I'm not in a position to help. If we get more support, then we can help more. We can build more houses.
There you go, folks. I'll leave a link in the description so you can donate to the Katimba Edwards Foundation and help them build more homes for families in need. It's our last day in Iten, in Kenya for that matter. But we don't have to leave just yet. We've got one more run in our legs. This time we leave right from the training center. Willie runs with Melanie while Emmanuel takes me on a 14-kilometer loop around town, shuffling over the now familiar collection of rocky dirt roads and forested trails. Wait, that's it? I'm done running? Damn, that happened way too quickly, both in real life and in editing this thing. I'm sad to leave. I wish we could have done the Kenya experience properly with a month-long stay at minimum. But it's in those moments of privileged despair that I have to remind myself just how stupid lucky I am to have gotten a week here. Me, an unremarkable, suburban-born Applebee's American from the shores of Lake Erie, got to run in Kenya. On the bright side, people like Coach, Willie, David, and Emmanuel will still be around in Iten. And with folks like them around, I'd say the future of Iten is in good hands.
As time goes, I think I still have about 8 years
as
professional runner. Then I can now retire. And that's how by bringing back to communities, helping the upcoming athletes. It's something that I love.
You also said you want to run 100K once you're retired.
Yeah. That's maybe immediately I retire and I'll learn to run ultra runner.
One last torture session.
So I want to torture myself and see, experience what is about it. So I think I can do it because everything is, if you love something, just go for it and do what's necessary. And then I think it'll be okay.